So the first thing we need to learn is what I call assuming your hero pose, or organizing the body. There's really two things that are the usual cues that I give for people. Let's start with the hips. The first thing we want to do is, if you were to place your hand on your hips, you can do this sitting down too, you're going to think about a slight tuck of the pelvis, like tucking of the tail. What this should do is turn on your core. Most of us, I'll pull my shirt so you can see, most of us are tight in the front hips from sitting down a lot. So we naturally have this sort of arched in the low back. What happens is you start trying to load up with weight in your arms, your low spine now is doing this motion. I'm gonna use my shirt here. Your spine is doing this motion. It's crunching on itself. We don't want that. So we want to lengthen the spine and get the core involved. The main purpose of your core is to protect your spine, protect your innards. We do so much, people think crunches is the way to go. I don't believe in that. We spend most of our time crunched. It's about protecting the spine. So we want to think about a slight tuck of the pelvis, which should make the back actually feel a little good. Turn the core on, and so we're nice and tall. That's the bottom half. Let's get the top half. I call this crushing the apples in your armpits. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll your shoulders up and then press them down. You should feel some flexing going on, especially in your back, maybe your chest. You should feel like you're a bodybuilder who's trying to look super tough. That's okay. What we're trying to do is, when we're about to lift something heavy, we want to protect our spine. By rolling those shoulders up and pressing them down and squeezing, you should be activating this giant muscle here called your lat. This is going to help protect your shoulder and keep your back nice and tight. So now that you got your core engaged and your back engaged, you go to pick up something or lift something, you're not tweaking your back, you're not rounding over. You're nice and tall, good posture. So again, tuck the pelvis a little bit. Doesn't have to be super extreme. Just a little tuck. Core is engaged. Roll those shoulders up, press them down, squeeze those lats, feel like you're a superhero. And then from there, we move. Relax that if you've been doing it for a while. We're gonna practice turning on our superhero pose. So feet gonna be a little bit, maybe hip width or a little bit wider. We're gonna feel nice and grounded. We're gonna do that little bit of a tuck. You're gonna inhale, exhale, press. You're gonna feel like you're scratching it up to 100. Everything's tight, you can't breathe. Relax, let that all out, shake it out. The next thing we're gonna be doing, so we got that tuck, core's turned on, chest is on, back's on, shoulders are rolled nice and flat. Don't do this. Straight down. Never this. You're not a hero busting through. You want to have that superhero emblem or imaginary superhero emblem nice and visible, but not shoved out. You're just strong and stable. With this, we're going to go one more level. If that's enough, just stop there and come back to this. But the next level, so we did level like first part, second part. Now we're talking about breathing. So for breathing, when we tighten our core, typically we want to be able to breathe that belly. Oh, in acting, we do this all the time. Let the belly go, let the belly go. But when we're lifting something and moving something, we need to protect that spine. So we do need the core engaged. How do we breathe? We don't want to breathe into the chest. We want to breathe into, think about the rib cage, because the belly is going to be turned on. It's going to limit our diaphragm or our belly breath. So we want to allow the ribs to spread out. So I recommend just now, don't worry about the bracing. Just put your hands on your ribs. Really feel them on the inhale and exhale. You should swing in and out. That's where a lot of your breath capacity is going to go. It will still go down, it will still come up, but you want to really think about out wide to the sides. So let's do that all together, all three levels. I'm going to tuck my pelvis a little bit. The core is going to be turned on. I'm going to inhale. I'm going to exhale. Squeeze those lats turned on. Now I'm going to do 3 breaths into my ribs. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. Every exhale, you're going to squeeze that core more and squeeze down. Inhale. Exhale. Brace. Inhale. Exhale. And relax, let it all go. Check it out. So that is what I'm talking about when I refer to bracing the core, tucking the pelvis, crushing the apples in the armpits, or organizing the spine. Make sure you do that the next time you go to pick something up heavy. Notice how strong you feel and how organized and how less of an injury you're going to get. All right, that's the first part of core bracing. Let's move on to our first two foundational moves, pulling and squatting.